This is Chip Maxwell, and you're listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. What is going on with England's banking and financial system? Will I get the same experience at the Lincoln Retire Smart office as I would at the Omaha office? And what ended up happening with the SALT deductions in the big, beautiful bill? David Brooks has answers to these questions in today's Q&A episode. Into the Q&A we go. David, the first question is about international finance. Did you see the financial secretary from the UK crying in Parliament over the state of Britain's finances? England is the home and foundation of Western civilization's banking and financial system. What the heck is going on?
I actually did catch that, and if you didn't realize it, the United Kingdom is basically bankrupt. I mean, they are in dire straits, and has a lot to do with the open border policy they have had in the last several years. They have imploded with immigration, and again, not saying that's right or wrong, but they've given away benefits and given away social programs with zero chance of collecting revenue. In fact, there was a story where someone followed a couple that immigrated to England 12 years ago and has been on benefits every year since, both able-bodied people and have not gotten a single job, have not paid one penny in tax. And you can't do that. As much as people have this heart for, we want to serve the world and do things, listen, you have to produce. This goes back to, Jamestown, right? and the diaries, et cetera. You've got to have people incentivized to be productive in life, or society will end up falling off a cliff. And that's what you're seeing happen in England. And England is near and dear to my heart. As you know, I spent a great deal of my youth there. Yeah. So, yeah. But and a lot of friends, but it's just not the same country it once was.
David, you are passionate about good leadership. You and Scott Frost came here to Nebraska about the same time. In fact, you're a Central Florida graduate. Things have turned out a lot better for you than they did for Scott Frost here. But he popped up in the news. He's back at Central Florida now as the head football coach. And Nebraska came up. And so here's the question. What do you think of Scott Frost's comment that he took the wrong job when he came to Nebraska as head coach?
Gee, how wrong was it to spend all $30 million that was given to you, Mr. Frost? So I was quite upset with the comments, and as you mentioned, he took my college to the promised land. We went undefeated back in 2017, and shortly after I moved here, about 9 months later, he came up and took the job, and was like him coming home, a homecoming. He was rewarded with a very large financial contract. Yeah. There's multiple stories in Lincoln of things that went awry. We don't need to bash them here. No. But the thing is, the Nebraska fan base has always been pretty forgiving. So, all right, just move on. That chapter's closed. We don't want to bash. But this recent comment, I don't know why he thought to do this, but he is going to draw the ire of Nebraska fans. So it'll be interesting if we can get UCF on the schedule. That would be
maybe a bowl game.
Something to see. But and on social media, Nebraska fans are blowing him up, and I think rightly so. I think he's I think he's just stepped in a can of you know what, and
it just seems strangely unnecessary and if he would just say, Nebraska fans, I'm sorry, I blew it, but good luck and whatever, everything would be fine.
Well, you talk about good leadership.
Seem to do that.
I mean, when you're in a leadership role, you need to be a little considerate with what you say. If I said everything on this show that I'm actually thinking, I don't know, and so I will just tell you, you have to be realistic, and there's nothing wrong with having strong opinions on things, but when you go public with everything, that's a little different.
Keep in mind the aformentioned Lou Brooks, your brother, is the compliance officer. So,
he and I disagree on multiple topics of things. Imagine that. Yeah. But I think healthy debate is a great thing. I recently got into a healthy debate with someone I graduated high school with many, many years ago, and haven't seen in a while on a particular topic. Anyway.
All right. Hey, speaking of doings in Lincoln, there's a question about our Lincoln office. Do I need to travel to Omaha to get the full Retire Smart program, or would I get the same thing from the Lincoln office?
Oh, you'll get absolutely the same planning process that happens in our Lincoln office as does in our Omaha office. The only difference between the two is the Lincoln office is about 25% the size of our Omaha office is quite large, right? We have a beautiful office in Lincoln, Nebraska.
And getting larger.
Yes.
We've got Lexi and Caden, our two newest faces in the studio with us today. I have it on good authority that Caden's grandmother is a regular listener, as a matter of fact. So thank you, Caden's grandmother, for listening.
We hire smart people. So anyway, the Lincoln office, you're going to get the same planning experience, but I will put a caveat. We do educational events that only happens right now in the Omaha office. So that's really the only difference. And there's some client events that will only happen in Lincoln now with our sponsor with the Huskers. So our Lincoln clients get closer drive to that. And there's some events like we do a quarterly wine tasting for new clients, things like that only happen in the Omaha office right now. So
we've got the Psychology of Retirement movie coming up in Lincoln. It's running during the breaks in our show.
So just make sure that you stay on the event page. And if you become a client, make sure that you opt into our texting service, et cetera, to make sure you're aware of all the events, et cetera.
Want to squeeze this in just briefly, David, because I think you and Josh just touched on this, but let's make sure we've got it clear for listeners and viewers. Question about taxes. In the big, beautiful bill, what ended up happening with the SALT tax? That, of course, is state and local tax that you can deduct from your federal bill.
Yeah, so I think what they're asking is what happened with the SALT deduction. So it's not a tax, it's a deduction. So that is exactly that. You can deduct your state and local taxes from your federal income tax return. But that's been capped at $10,000. That now went up to $40,000, including this year. But it's only going to be here for 4 years. It will phase out. And then there's a phase out on your income. Once your income goes over $500,000, you start to lose part of that deduction. So we're going to again go through that whole thing in a video that we'll post to this channel, on the YouTube channel.
When you do that video, will you please point out that this SALT deduction rewards the fiscally irresponsible states who gouge their taxpayers with state and local taxes, and those who are responsible get shafted by it.
No, absolutely. So California, New Jersey, et cetera, New York, these states benefit widely, their taxpayers do, with this over other states.
Thank you for listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. If you want to learn how to generate lifetime income, reduce your tax bill, and maintain your lifestyle in retirement, visit retiresmartpodcast.com and make sure to subscribe to keep up with new episodes every week.